Hello, everyone. It's Heather here with Magnificent Mamas, and we've got Josephina on the line, and we have Dave, our author of the day.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Dave. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah. First of all, thank you, Heather, for having me on this interview. My name is Dave Schwartz, and I am an emerging writer, as they say. I've just released my first collection of short stories called The House Across the Road and Other Stories. And it's kind of eclectic. I almost think about it as a song cycle because my background is really music. I'm a composer, and I've released songs on CDs and stuff. So aside from teaching and doing music, writing's been something that I've been doing for a long, long time, but it's now finally time for me to start saying stuff. So the short story book is out now, and I've got a kids illustrated book coming out in the spring, later in the spring. And then hopefully I've got another short story book coming out in the fall, and I'm also working on an academic book about Gustav Mahler.
Oh, wow. It sounds like you are keeping busy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying because there's not a lot of jobs for composers with PhDs. I'm just trying to do as much of my stuff as possible. One, while because I teach, I'm a teacher really. I teach from home, high school and junior high. And so, yeah, it's time for me to start, cranking this stuff out that's been on the back burner for, in some cases, decades.
Yeah. What do you teach? I mean, you said music.
I teach social sciences, which is essentially anything from history to even psychology. But I also teach language arts 6th through 12th grade as well. So I don't even actually teach music online. I formerly taught music classes and recording classes at the local college, but I'm not doing that anymore, so I'm only teaching history and language arts at the middle school and high school level.
Okay.
Kind of a strange, all over the place kind of background that makes it real hard to make a concise curriculum vitae, but that is what it is.
Yeah, it's very eclectic, but I like it. I like it a lot.
I homeschool my daughter. She's 15.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, I really like being able to talk to the students one-on-one.
Yeah.
Much more than I ever did when I was in the classroom. And also it gives me time to, like I said, get all of these things out of the attic that have been up there for a while, including books. And, I'm continuously recording music. And the recording name is the Vince Berman Trio. There's no trio and there's no Vince, but that's the recording name that I use. And I put out a bunch of albums and a single, and that's kind of, one of the other big focuses of songwriting.
That's awesome. We'll have to check it out for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. Yeah. Well, my website has pretty much everything on it. dtschwartz.com. D as in Dave, T as in Tom, and then Schwartz, SCHWARTZ.com. I mean, that pretty much is my CV. That's got everything, stuff that I've been doing, and I've been really lucky that I've been able to get stuff out more and more frequently. But yeah, the new book is something that the short stories I'm really.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. In a way, it is eclectic in that there definitely are different styles. Okay, so for example, the outer two works are actually poems, but I think they work as short stories. Then the next outer two, if you want to call it, the second one and the second to last, those are both fables. So I really like animals when they act like people, and I grew up with, just loving short stories from everyone from Ernest Hemingway, Roald Dahl, Kurt Vonnegut. I mean, on and on. I just love short stories. Aesop's Fable even. So the two first fables in there. There's a couple of character studies. There's some stories about kind of semi-sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
As the book's jacket was written, the back of it talks about the book in some ways being about, there's stories about narcissism in there. There's stories about sexual dysfunction and parenting and loneliness, and the decline of the American dream is what the back book cover says. So there's a lot of stories under there, but I think it's really, in a way, hopefully social commentary in the kind of traditional sense of some of the writers that I mentioned.
Yeah.
And also, hopefully there's, some philosophy underneath there as well. I mean, some stuff to think about. Nothing preachy, but just, interesting things that I think reflect a kind of a slice of, what the world is like right now, especially in the United States. Again,
Yeah.
nothing political or anything like that, but just like I said, it's about parenting. And there's some Southern fiction type stuff in there. And so that's, it's a bit eclectic.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of range.
I think so. I mean, I do the same thing as a songwriter too, I mean, it would be hard pressed to say, oh, well, that's a country song, but wait a minute, that's a rock song, but wait a minute, that sounds like Bootsy Collins, but wait a minute, that sounds like... So I kind of, again, as somebody who loves music and likes songwriting, lots and lots of different kind of things come in my brain that I really like. And so in the same way as this collection of short stories, there's a lot of it's eclectic, but in a way, I think they all kind of have an underlying kind of a slice of today.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there is like a, kind of a couple of stories that seem somewhat science fiction. And aging is another thing. What happens to us when we, but again, hopefully they're fun to read.
They sound interesting for sure.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
hope so. I
What
hope
would you
so. I hope so.
What would you say your like ideal audience would be?
I think my ideal audience is really people that like reading short stories, because there's going to be things, in my short stories that, might be reflective of, stuff that people had written earlier. Well, for me, one of the examples was one of the stories that I wrote, is called A Sunday Visit. In some ways is kind of an updated version of Hemingway's Up in Michigan. And even though they're 100 years apart, I think that it's still there's still things that we write about because they need to be addressed. They still happen. We still have human experiences, and not all of them are great.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's what I'm kind of, just
Aiming for.
some cases. Exactly. Yes. So that's I think that's what I would say that my audience would be. People that like to read short stories. I certainly wouldn't give this book to kids. I'd give them to, to be honest, it's really for adults who have read short stories, because again, there are some topics that, like I said, sci-fi deals with social stuff and parenting and sexual dysfunction and narcissism and things like that. So
yeah, stuff you don't want necessarily a typical child to read.
Exactly. So again, that's what I think these are for adults that like to read short stories. But I do have a kids book coming out in the spring too, so that's specifically
nice. When's that coming out?
Well, we're finishing up the illustrations right now, so I'm hoping it'll be out by June.
Nice.
And it is for 4 to 8 year olds, and it's actually an illustration of one of the songs I've written. So
okay.
It will be called People Have Pets.
It's called what?
People Have Pets. So it's kind of my Dr. Seussy thing that I wrote a long time ago for a niece of mine, and she never ended up getting it, but I ended up keeping it, and so that's what it is. It's People Have Pets, and it will be out on Mascot Books.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm opening it.
Why don't you wait till I'm done?
I'm
Sorry,
excited about
guys. My daughter just came in with a huge package.
Heavy too.
UPS just dropped off the package. She's like, I'm opening it. I apologize about that.
Not a problem at all.
That's awesome. That's a big jump too, to go from like an adult book to children's, but you said it's based off of one of your songs.
It is, yeah. And again, you know, I've just been making a real conscious effort to you know, get as much stuff out there as possible. Because I'm, you know, I don't I need to. It's been sitting. I need to push everything. So
I
at the
understand that
beginning of
completely.
oh yeah, at the beginning of last year, I pushed the kids' book, which had been sitting around for a while. And I've been looking for illustrators, but I had such a difficult time trying to find local illustrators that would be doing something like that. So
And the
I
right
ended up
fit.
reaching out. Yep. So that's it all, I think, is working out for the best, at least in that respect, although it's a little longer than I'd hoped, but hopefully by June it'll be done.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Well, I really appreciate what you guys are doing as far as helping promote authors. I mean, this is kind of brand new, and the one thing that I haven't been able to do is get the word out.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's so. I mean, I'm basically published this book on the super cheap,
Yeah.
and I, you know, to be able to get it out there is really it tends to be the most difficult part. So, you know, the fact that you're doing that, I think, is just a really incredible thing, and I just couldn't be more grateful.
Well, you're very welcome. So I started doing this because, like, I'm a writer too myself. I've only published a little bit on Kindle Vella right
Mhm.
now, but I've had the passion for writing all my life.
Mhm.
And I've seen and I've been connected in the author community for a very long time. You know, authors sit here and spend so much money trying to publish their book. And then, yes, some publishers might help promote it, but there's a lot of indie and self-published authors that struggle to get it out there. And that's one reason I do offer free services to authors, because I think everyone should be able to have a chance at getting their books out there. And I want to help promote literacy and help authors. And it's something important to me.
Well, definitely, if there's anything I can do along the way to help, you know, like if you've got links, especially for these interviews, I'm happy to do that, because, you know, I'm gradually trying to promote music and my writing all at once. But I
Yeah.
absolutely believe in what you're doing, you know, and I did notice that you have also paid services as well that I'll look at, you know, certainly after today. But
Yeah, we try to, an important thing in regards to our paid services, we do try to make sure they're affordable,
mhm.
because, like I said, that's important to me. I've seen people charging thousands of dollars for similar services, and the people that need the help, you know, sometimes don't even have a dime to their name. So, you know, affordable, in my book, services is important.
Well, you definitely hit the not a dime to the name thing, because again, I teach virtual students, and I get a flat rate of $165 when they finish the semester.
Mhm.
So, you know, there's just not a lot of, you know, so I'm just trying to do anything I can.
I'm surprised. I would think there would be more students, especially after COVID. Like, I pulled my daughter out of school because public school, she's ADHD and dyslexic, and public school just, every time she's in public school, she gets more behind, like, than she should be. And she does so well being homeschooled. I'm surprised. Like, there's so many people around the world homeschooling, especially after COVID. Like, I pulled her out right before COVID happened. Yeah, I was so glad I did. Because, like,
yeah.
luckily, she had it once. I've had COVID 4 times, but I worked in healthcare, so.
Oh, well, okay. I was about to say.
I was teaching virtually before COVID, and certainly for the year or two that I was that COVID was around, my numbers went way up. But
Yeah.
the last couple of years, I mean, I'm just barely scraping by, and they all but canceled the recording program at the local college where I was, basically able to teach recording and whatnot. But so yeah, the last few years, and it's a longer story than that, especially with the music side of things, I mean,
Yeah.
finally it was just like anything, get everything out there, and it's actually manageable. I mean, looking at the very, very tiny, teeny bit of royalties I get from stuff like Spotify, just to have a little bit of marketing can actually make it, make it so that, with just a few thousand people a month, you can actually survive.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I am right now. If I can sell a few books and, start to do more, and that allows me to do more, that's what I see money is, allowing people to get experiences, to do things, for me anyway, play the music and stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's the hardest part. So I was so excited, one, to find that group on Facebook, and almost immediately your advertisement for doing interviews popped right up, and I was just so incredibly grateful, because I've just been so busy looking for a break and trying to make my own breaks.
And see, the sad thing about it is, I'm posting in author groups on a daily basis, whether it's for the author interview or, the book of the day section, which is also free, by the way. And so many people out there, don't even take the chance to click the link to see, it's real. We're
And
real.
there's a lot of people saying that it's like a scam or something like that, when it's not. We really are doing this.
You
Like,
can go to our website and see all the books we've gotten posted so far, and there's going to be so much more to come. Like, it's unreal. When I started posting about looking for authors for this interview, I kid you not, in 2 days time, I think it was over 300, I said? 300?
yeah,
Oh, wow.
it was like 300, almost 400 people that had signed up.
Yeah.
That is really cool. I mean, I immediately, what you said was exactly what I did, which was because, over the last few years, especially whether it was music or even submitting short stories to magazines, there's a lot of stuff that feels like it's a bit of a scam. But when I saw your website after you posted that, I was like, wow, this is really, really neat. So
Yeah.
I really think what you're doing is terrific, especially since it sounds like one of your motivations is literacy. And my
Yes.
gosh, as a teacher, I can't tell you how important I think that is.
Well, my grandfather, he's passed away now. He used to be a history teacher, and he's one of the most inspirational people in my life, and I've always looked up to him. And when I was little, I wanted to grow up and be a history teacher, and I still have my love for history and whatnot. But, I want to help people, and I feel like this is just where I'm called to help people at.
Well, I think it's fantastic. I look at everything as history and just shades of it. So when I teach
Yes.
music appreciation, it's a history course with a focus on music. And
Yeah.
for me, writing is a connection to history as well. I mean, all sorts of stuff. There's some history references in some of my short stories that are in this book. But
I understand that completely.
boy, I just, yeah, history is super, super important, and reading is such a
Yep.
huge thing.
And the sad thing is, nowadays with electronics and whatnot, I mean, yes, there's ebooks, don't get me wrong, but so many people, like the younger generation, I feel like they're not reading as much as like when I was growing up. I'm in my 30s. When I was growing up, I was reading, a 300-400 page book a day or every 2 days. And now I feel like I don't see that in the younger generations as much.
No, it's true.
Speaking of which, last year I had a goal to read 365 books last year. Like in general, I hit that goal.
That's awesome.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Were they all like regular books or ebooks or?
It was a mixture of if they were ebooks or if they were like paperbacks or hardcovers. majority of them were ebooks because there's no way I would have been able to spend the amount of money that it would have costed me to buy all of those books. Because Kindle Unlimited is like my best friend.
Yes, I have
but most of them were, I would say, 300. Most of them, I'm not going to say all of them. Most of them were 300-page minimum books.
Yeah. See, I have Kindle Unlimited and Audible. And my daughter, she's got learning disabilities a little bit, so she's finally getting interested in reading, but she listens to audiobooks more. And now she's listening to books. She's listening to books all day long. Doing dishes, she's listening to books.
It's funny how much reading and writing has been such a kind of something that's been around long before, I'm 56, and this, just now getting the book published is funny because, believe it or not, when I started working on my PhD in music composition, one of the reasons why I wanted to study classical music composition was because I thought it would make me a better writer of prose. And so actually it did teach me how to develop ideas, for example. But yeah, writing and reading it used to be so integral, like you were talking about when you were a kid and me when I was a kid. And I do work with students, and so many of them just do not read regularly. And part of my job, hopefully, is to get them to be better writers, because so much of what they do is write for me. So
yeah.
Yeah, and again, if there's anything ever I can do to help you guys or donate books for fundraisers or whatever you guys need, please.
Well, we've definitely got some stuff in the works. Go ahead, Josephina.
I was going to say, yes, we need to think about that if we haven't already, because I know we haven't talked about it specifically, but we need to think about it.
That's one of the things on the list that we got to do on our call some of the growth ideas that we've been working on putting together. But definitely, for sure, you will definitely hear from us. And as always, in regards to helping support, liking, sharing, inviting your friends to either the website or the Facebook page, even just sharing a post helps go a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have a couple of links or stuff, or is that all on the email that you sent me in on Facebook?
I can send you an email and make sure you have them all.
That'd be great. I would really appreciate that.
So we can do that here in a little bit.
Excellent. And I'm guessing you still have my email?
Yes, we do.
Good.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It looks like Josephina walked away for a minute. She's attending to her children.
Well, thank her for me. And thank you so much, Heather.
Thank you. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do this interview with us.
Yeah. And when do your interviews run?
We will notify you when it's going to be launched. Our initial podcast launch is March 1st, and then we will be launching, the podcast each day of the week. So.
Okay, cool. Well, let me know. And are you on Instagram as well? Or you have all those links as well?
Yep, okay, I will send you all our links.
Excellent. Well, thank you again, Heather. I'm so grateful.
You're welcome so much.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, and don't hesitate to reach out. I look forward to it.
We will.
Okay.
All right.
Take care.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye.